Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. Yeah, I figured I'd try and jump on live right before I go to bed. It's been a crazy day. I have not stopped running around. This first time I'm looking at myself and I'm saying, oh my God, I look crazy. But, in order to be consistent, you gotta be, you know, utilize your time. I used to waste so much time focusing on the outside. Would never even be able to get on online without it. Believe it or not, that's healing. Not that you should look like a slob, but again, focusing more on what things look like from the outside opposed to caring about what's going on the inside so you could really live an authentic life. We're not taught that. So, again, for those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Laura, and I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid, so roles could be reversed. Interpret the message as it best resonates with you. And also know on this channel, I'd like to dive deep within the reading. So I look at everything, but we take time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play it as karmic themes. I like to dive deep within the reading because the majority of relationships are all relationships are karmic, but the majority of relationships that we deal with are seen as insignificant karmic relationships because they never really go anywhere. However, being with a person that you perceive it may be going somewhere and you give it energy and then it winds up really not going anywhere has the potential to wound us, to make an imprint on the subconscious mind. An imprint is what a samskara is. Samskara is a combination between astral energy, which is thought energy, combined with emotional energy. It's felt in the body as stress. When you stand next to somebody, you can feel their energy. Just like when you walk into a room, you can feel if there was an argument. You can feel that heavy energy. They say, oh, you could cut the tension with a knife. Well, that energy is something that's very real. So understanding that we're made up of energy, and just because you get through an experience doesn't mean that that energy is gone. The issue is that not until you learn how to integrate the spiritual wound can you quantum jump into the reality that you want to experience. Otherwise, you'll continue to relive the same karmic theme. Hey, Shelley and Mose. So I like to explain this because a lot of times people say, I've done the healing. I've done the healing. And you can have done the healing. You can. I'm not saying that you haven't, but you haven't seen a different version of yourself. You haven't seen a different version of the experience. Healing is not just the awareness, it's about actually seeing yourself differently, embodying the new consciousness. And so you may say, well, you can't with that type of person. And no, you may not be able to make that person that you're connected to a karmic step into their best version of themselves. They might not want to raise their vibration. However, you can avoid negative karmic consequences when dealing with a karmic mate. Otherwise, a lot of times, those people, they come through a person's life and they have the potential to create havoc in our life. Even when it's like, and you'd say, well, it was an insignificant relationship. The person came into my life. I thought that it was serious. They toyed around with me for a certain amount of time and then they left. What the hell is that type of relationship? And the relationship is one that teaches you that you need healing. That's what I like to do these readings, because if we don't heal, we'll continue to attract the same types of people and we'll do the same things, or we'll try to overcompensate or undercompensate. That's when you're with a person like breadcrumbs. You say, why does that person breadcrumb? Well, it's because they at one point gave too much. So now they went the other way. They discovered they can get the same thing going the other way, but it's still an imbalance. We can get what we want if we ourselves are balanced. And so, again, that means you have to be healed. You have to be a clear conduit for spirit to work through. Otherwise, you can't manifest what you're trying to manifest. So, your relationships are just one way that the universe teaches you about yourself. Otherwise, like our inner child wounds and obviously past life experiences we don't remember. Again, they're repressed. We think that they're part of us. We're like, that's who I am. That's part. And the spirit says it's not who you are. You think that that's who you are, but that's not who you are. And you formed habits and behaviorisms that are in supportive of that. So again, breaking karmic contracts and stopping karmic looping is really important. And the way that that's done is to become aware of all that I just told you. Otherwise, there's no point in even watching the channel, because the channel is not just about what this person's going to do. Though we always like to know what they're going to do, of course. And hello, Gloria. Because we just want to know and understand you're dealing with imbalanced people. So one day they can really feel like they'll want to be with you, and the next day they may not. A person that is not emotionally intelligent, that hasn't done any healing work, they're going to be all over the place. So again, it's for you to remember that. Otherwise, you can take it really personally. Well, that's what it's about, self-observation. And that's really what, Sheila, that's what you said. And that's what this is saying. But I feel like whenever you're dealing with any type of soulmate, it's not just that one person is learning. It doesn't work that way. The divine brings people into our life to teach us. That's what it's about. And so thank you, Diane. So self-observation, I feel like you're becoming more aware of what you want and what you'll put up with and what you won't put up with. And I feel like a long time ago you would have put up with a lot more. You've just come to a place in your life where you're like, no, and getting real clear about what it is that you want. And that's important, especially if you were raised by people that didn't let you have an identity, didn't said, this is what you like, this is what you should do, this is what you should be, which again, our society tends to do that. Our families do that, but they do it out of love most of the time, because they think, what works for them or what they should have done, and they gear us in that. They don't realize that we all have our own unique unfoldment process. And I feel like part of your unfoldment process is, to become more aware of yourself. I feel like you grew up in an environment where you were paid more attention about everybody else. That could be because you're a sensitive person. See, look, thumbs up. I don't know why that does that, by the way, but a highly sensitive person. I also feel like you changing makes the people around you in your environment, hey, Richard, and Mose, that when you look around, like what you're seeing like a lot of people are looking at you almost like you've changed. And I feel like when you're in a healing phase, so you're on your healing journey, and I feel like that's because there's nobody really in your life right now. It's like, it doesn't mean that there's not somebody that you're connected to, but they're not putting in any effort. And so, that's usually when we're looking at ourselves, because we're saying, what is this person doing? It's again, and that's the whole thing. You have a wound when someone's able to make you feel a certain way, like not good enough, not valued. Again, whatever the lower consciousness is, where really they wouldn't be able to make you feel that way if you were really invested in your life. And I always say that. I always tell you guys, a lot of times people become like, don't know that the relationship is going 100 miles an hour because they're not balanced. And they're not balanced because they don't really know what they want. So self-observation is important because, like you said, you're able to make better choices for yourself. But I feel like you feel like you're changing. And in this changing, there's being connected to people that just aren't giving anything in return. And I don't think that this is just about this person that you're connected to. I'm feeling like it's just everybody at this point. If they're not giving you something, and that means emotional, emotional connection, support, uh, financial support, like whatever the support is, they're not contributing to your life. You don't want it in your life where you've paid a lot of attention to, again, what you have put up with. And I feel like, yeah, and it's draining to the point that you got to a point where you're like, you know what, I don't think I'm going to date anybody or really interact with anyone. I'm definitely not going to give that person, the person that's connected to me, any energy because they don't give me anything. I just don't understand why I attract a person that doesn't give me anything. And so I guess that's what spirit wants to focus on tonight, like why that's a karmic theme, like to that, because it's a wound of where you're like, why do I feel like I never get what I want? And it's like, when you can get what you want, but though there's a belief that that's the imprint. Remember, the imprint is just, I went through a traumatic experience. I don't even remember what the experience was, or maybe it was a cultivation of a lot of experiences where I was made to feel that I was like not worthy, not loved, like looked over. Again, I can't get what I want, which is love. But that's impossible because you actually are love. Just know that. So it's impossible to not be able to obtain it when you are it. You're just getting in your own way. And so understand it's the trauma. So we have to look. Yeah, just because that's not, it's not like you can't have love. It's that there's the perception. I can't have it because it doesn't work out for me, but that's the illusion. And we'll look and see like what your inner child wounds are. But I always like to look at the person's like behaviorisms a little bit, and again, what the whole spiritual significance of the relationship is. Like, why are we even in this? What are we supposed to learn? This is, otherwise you can't learn. You can't, because when you change your habits, your behaviorisms, how you're dealing with that person, well, you change the entire dynamic of the relationship. People make the mistake of trying to talk. Oh, I told this person exactly what I want, and they keep doing the same shit. Of course they're doing the same shit. It's not about like saying anything. It's about what you do, what you give, how you act. Self-observation is that. This is what we're talking about. This is what spirit's talking about, saying you're not aware. You're not aware of how much time and energy and effort you're giving to people. And when you look at really successful people, they don't have that much time. That's why, people that really like someone, they make the time. And people that don't really like somebody, I'm a little too busy. So you may be like, I don't give anything. I really don't give anything. If the person reaches out to me, I talk back to them. And spirit says every time. And you're like, yeah, but I never reach out to them ever. The spirit says, well, if every single time you sit there for the hour or the 20 minutes or however long, that person knows that that you're stuck on them. Too much energy. You're already fucked yourself. It's like, because I was respectful. Spirit says, if your life was full of passion and with people giving you something, and someone's coming in with little breadcrumbs, you notice that they were breadcrumbs. You would notice you're not worth my time. You're not, I can tell by what you're doing that you're not serious, is what Spirit's saying. So self-observation is that. Are you like aware of how you are contributing to the sabotaging behaviorisms, because we've been stuck in a place of feeling like I can't be loved. How the fuck did I get here when I am loved? That doesn't even make sense. I'm down here to learn that I'm not separate from love. Love is who? Love is God. Love is the universe. Love is the vibration of the universe. It's of the higher states of consciousness, which is unconditional love. And that means forgiveness. So when you hold anger and resentment and somebody makes you mad and you're out of alignment with the laws of God, the laws of love, the laws of nature, and the laws of the universe, because they're all the same thing. And it's the energy that's within inside you, that supernatural power, that creative force that needs to be channeled into purpose and not into a connection at first. The person needs to meet it. Otherwise, there's a sense of, I'm connected to someone that there's a lack of will. That's what it looks like. It looks like the person doesn't really want to. And I'll answer all your questions at the end of the channel. I just can't read the channel I read and channel at the same time. I don't know whether anyone can. It's a separate part of the brain. And that's not really the strong part of my brain to begin with. The whole muggle side, not growing. So again, people like the person keeping the relationship stagnant, the person not putting in effort, the person. So automatically, this is saying, it's again, you could say, well, I feel that there's a connection. Well, first of all, that might not even be real. And the reason why is because you can think about someone to a point that their energy, that you imagine it, you think that you're imagining it. So that's number one. Number two, you can also people that are very, very obsessive about you and think about you 24/7. If you were to get a reading, their energy would be all over you, meaning literally they wouldn't barely even pick up on you, because understand it takes a lot of energy for that person to hold on to you if they're not giving you anything. It's a lot of thought energy. It's a lot of emotional energy, which usually means if the person's not doing anything and you're like, no, I swear that this person's really connected to me, and then they're not doing anything else, they're not in another relationship, then they're in an addiction and they're detached. So understand that and you might say, well, why would I attract a person that's detached? Well, again, detachment happens from trauma. So it's not all the time that a person purposely, is I'm not going to put in any effort so the relationship doesn't grow. This is what your self-observation is. I get people that do that. And it makes me feel, obviously, we don't need to pull cards for how it would make anyone feel, because everybody knows how they would feel and everyone would feel the same. But we look at the individual triggers. Which is getting tired of gaslighting, you saying something to this person, and then it's this person didn't want to give you anything. So it was almost because you say something, you get punished because you say something. So this person would twist things around and then blame you, where they would be I'm tired of you blaming me for the relationship not working out, or you taking me the wrong way, when really you're not taking them the wrong way. They're just trying to gaslight you. And the reason why is because they're I already know how much you care about me. So I don't want the relationship to grow. That doesn't mean I want you to leave, though. It's like, so remember, the person say is like challenging you almost right then and there to be like, I think that you'll settle for less. It's almost like they're not saying that, but that's the attitude, which makes you feel not valued. Definitely triggering your abandonment issues, which is like, okay, so you're not gonna stick around. You're not making me feel secure. And that brings you back to that inner child wound. So understand, we only abandon ourselves now at this point, because yes, as children we could have been abandoned by our parents, emotionally, psychologically, physically. But understand, the universe, God is your father, that works through you through gut intuition, inner knowing. Well, it also works through your environment. So the only time we get abandoned is when we abandon ourselves. So automatically giving too much energy to someone else, then they're letting them come in and out of your life because you're not taking responsibility of your life, because that's what the universe is trying to tell you. The universe is like, you waiting for this asshole to like give you that? It's like, no, me first. I'm a jealous God through you first. Because again, you have to teach people how you want to be treated. And this person is trying to teach you. And then they'll tell you, like, because you want that type of relationship, like that you're needy, even though, or that not that you're needy, but like almost like I can't breathe, like giving you that feeling, almost like you're needy, like you're asking for too much, when you're not asking for too much. It's again this person's way of not really wanting to be in a committed relationship, not wanting to be held responsible, trying to get you to sway your, like your boundary. Your boundary is, I don't want to date a person that's going to date 1,000 other people. I don't want to sleep with a person that sleeps with 1,000 other people. That's not what I'm looking for. Assumptions. And again, I assume that you're going to do this, because not necessarily because you'll do it, but because I normally get what I want. And yes, anger is usually what's fueled behind that, when people have wounds of that, of I like on some level knowing that they're hurting you, knowing they're hurting you by coming in and out of your life, not letting the relationship grow, knowing what you want, and then saying, you know what, I don't care what it is that you want. This is what I want. And I feel that I can get that because of how much you have feelings for me. That's the attitude. That's the anger. And that is anger that somebody did that to me. So I don't really care. It's every man for himself. It's on a lower consciousness. Well, I think everybody has toxic response when they're in a relationship like that, because it's like, how dare you? Who the fuck do you think you are? Like, like making me be in a one-sided relationship. What are you trying to show me? You're just not trying to show me. And that's because there's a spirit part of self, the God part of self. That's like, you have to honor and know who you are and know what you're deserving. That's so, and you have to listen to that. It's the way that you respond that gives this person the joy. That's what you don't get. So when you say anger, well, what does that anger look like? Well, that's one way. It's like, ooh, like, look at all that emotion. Look at all that emotion. It's a beautiful thing for this person. I want to look at the hidden truths, because again, a lot of times you can see the person's motives behind it, and what you'll see is the person a lot of times is just not emotionally intelligent. And it doesn't matter how smart they are. My dad skipped grades in school. Skipped grades in school. Smartest guy you'd ever want to meet. And he got cancer 9 times. He couldn't make his life work. So understand, it doesn't matter if you're not emotionally intelligent, you don't know You're not tapping into the higher self, the spirit part of self. It doesn't mean that we act on our emotions, but we take them into consideration, because we understand what they mean. I know I messed up everything. I regret lying to you. I feel like they tried to pretend that they didn't really care. Again, that you weren't really worth anything. I'm going to give you less to give you the illusion that you're not worth anything, because I think that this is what you think about yourself. This is what this person is saying to you unconsciously. And that's what you don't get. I think you don't know your worth. I know your worth. However, if I go into the flea market and I see something that normally is $200 and I can get it for $20, I'm going to pay the $20 for it. And that's what this person pretty much showed you. But they regret it, because they're like, fuck, that person was a real person. Like, meaning they were like they really meant something. They weren't like everybody else, a bullshitter. They weren't like everyone else, a bullshitter. And that's what it is. Even like, again, calling them out on it, they love it. Sheila, don't say anything. They know what they do. Don't give them the essence of it. Don't give them time. Don't give them time. You want them to take responsibility. You're like, listen to like what you're doing. Look at don't you know what you're doing? And they know exactly what they are doing. They know. It's like, but they don't care how they get you. And this is what the anger was that Richard was talking about. Oh, so much anger. You better believe it. It's like, I'm angry. I'm angry. I lost myself for a little while. Yeah, the person gets stuck in angry, and they probably do a lot of things to, detach from themselves, because no one can stay angry for long periods of time. You would want to drink, you would want to smoke, you would want to escape somehow. And that's people that have really bad root chakra imbalances. Like, again, that root chakra is, just connected to themselves, not knowing who they are, not connected to the earth, not connected to ancestors, not having strong roots. And because of this, they tend to emulate other people and tend to focus too much on material and outside, what things look like on the outside, instead of creating their life. Kind of like what I was saying, like in the beginning. Well, you can put in your, like, fill out the coaching thing. But that's really what this is. It's like the person is like regrets lying, but then it's like, guess what? Now their ego. It's like, and that's really what we see. The walls that the person created is the ego. And they lie to create the persona, but things have changed. I'm starting to understand our connection, where I feel like this person thought that they could control the connection. To be honest with you, they were like, because they can normally manipulate and strategize, and then they usually get bored with the person, because again, they don't value anything. Anything that you don't put time into, it's how much love you put into something, is the connection. That's why it hurts when you're with a karmic, because you're like, okay, how did that person just move on and go on, and they didn't even do what the fuck? And it's why? It's because you were the one that came in and rescued them. You're the one that gave them your time, your energy, your focus, your money, your love. And what did that person do? That person, again, was thankful. They showed you love, but I mean, they didn't work for the connection. They didn't value the connection. I didn't feel like doing it. I thought I'd go to the flea market and get it at discount. And that's really because that's what you showed them, but you showed them that because you're looking at it like, I want to treat this person the way I would want to be treated. And spirit says, yeah, if you like the person, but if you don't like the person you're not giving that much to, you don't care. If it's a lady down this block that you don't know, it's like, yeah, you got 3 minutes for her. You know what I mean? If that, oh, I'm not opening up the door. I don't care why she's coming up the driveway. Come on. It's like, but for someone that we want, it's like we're going to make time. And that's all you need to show. I wish I could share my good news with you. See, it's again, this person is looking back, and I think that they're seeing the friendship, the genuineness. So, is it like, oh, I have so much passion for you? No, it's not that this person obviously would be sticking around if they didn't have that emotion, that physical connection. But a physical thing is a dime a dozen, and this person can get that. It's again, that's not the focus is on the spiritual connection and on the emotional connection that this person actually gets. And I say that because it's like they wish they could share their good news with you. There's a sense like, again, you were a general person, like a stand-up person. You really had my back. You really looked. I didn't give this the time or the effort or the energy. I love you. So it's again, now you'd be like, they love me, and that's the way that it looks. Yeah, that's the way that it looks, especially because this person was in their ego and they didn't take the time to get to know you. It wasn't until you cut your energy off and you were like, well, you're not letting it grow, so I'm not going to sit here. You're keeping us stuck in a place of not growing because you're not putting in any effort. So I'm not going to sit here and waste my time. And I guess when you detached your energy, this person like realized it. They realized it because it's that ESP connection, and also they might have reached out, and you're not giving them the red carpet treatment anymore. And that's like telling them, they want to come in back with their little breadcrumbs. I'm afraid you're going to meet someone before I'm ready to be with you. So again, this person feels like there was a few that fell out, so I didn't take them because I never believe in any mistakes. I believe that this person is like healing right now, but they can feel like you're angry. And when you're angry, they can feel it because ESP through the heart and mind. So I feel like this person is working through things, and it doesn't mean that they're 100% healed. They're not all of a sudden a different person. If anything, they're getting triggered, and they were trying to work through the patterns and like of abandonment of issues that they have. Like I said, because this is why they don't really want to be in a relationship. They don't want to be in a relationship because they haven't worked before. They haven't worked for them. So the triggers is that it's like you want a connection. You want them to come in correct. You want to be respected. You want to be seen eye to eye. Like you don't want this person to continue to elevate themselves. Like they have to put you down to elevate themselves, to make themselves feel good. You don't want that. That's a trigger for them. It's like, again, the fact that you would have a voice, that you would set a boundary, because again, they're wounded. They see themselves as imperfect. So like I said, they know that they have to heal. They're very sensitive. And this is, I feel insecure, but it's pushing them to grow because they know that you're not going to put up with it. It's like, but that's what love does. It's like we have no control over it. It's like we don't want to change. It's like uncomfortable, being uncomfortable, because like life doesn't grow, so you become uncomfortable. But it's like, oh, but then I got to get up early. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be uncomfortable. Where spirit's like, but your life is uncomfortable. So understand that's this person, and that's a root chakra imbalance. And it's a root chakra balance where this person was like, I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start. And that's like, I'm a failure. There's something wrong with me. Life doesn't really work well with love. So I'm going to control it. I'm going to get what I want, and I'm going to make sure that I don't get hurt. And so, again, and I'm not saying that it's a correct way to be, but that's what insecure people do. So, again, they come from the survival mode. They're not coming from the higher self. The higher self is God part of self that knows only in the now do we get divine guidance, and that we can set boundaries. And by, again, having other things in our life, again, making a person like come in correct. Again, there's many different like realities that play it at one time. This person's coming back into your life from a past life. This is again why the person feels like home. There's a soul recognition. So it's like, hey, one of these lifetimes, they're going to get it. Why not this lifetime? I mean, we are in the process of a spiritual war right now. Again, you have to realize that. So people are going through like ascension symptoms. People are becoming more sensitive. People are becoming more aware. We weren't taught. So again, this person like wouldn't do it unless they were passionate. We as human beings tend to not do anything unless we're rewarded for it. Instant gratification, or that there's something at the end of the rainbow for us. Otherwise, why would we do it? Please contact me. I may not respond, but knowing you care opens my heart. So again, this person's insecure, doesn't even really know whether or not you're gonna take them back. However, they know that they have to fix themselves. And when I say fix themselves, work on themselves before they come back. And because again, right now, if they were to come back, you wouldn't take them back at all. That's what they know. And so they're doing the work, but they know that the clock is a ticking, and that, you might meet somebody again. So, which is good. Spirit, the universe says, well, this person wouldn't move at all. Again, they're lazy. They have a root chakra imbalance. Again, they don't want to change. And it's not because they don't really want to change, but it gets stuck in stupid. That root chakra is that it's on survival mode. I don't. The logical, analytical mind kind of is like, bye. Like during times like that where you're like, what are you, stupid? It's like, yeah. It's like this person has a block. So they're like, I don't really know what to do. And you're not like handling it the way that I thought that you were going to handle it. Like this person was so sure of themselves. My inner child was wounded when my parents couldn't respond to me in the way I needed them to. I am reacting from that wound. Obviously, like the whole time. That's why they triggered abandonment to you. Hurt people hurt people. That's why they come in and out of your life. This is why they're like, I really won't show up for you because I don't really know. This person like is always like, I'm feeling like self soothing themselves because they haven't healed. And that means that they're indulgent. They tend to, lose themselves. Like how they said they lost themselves for a while. Yeah, I'm sure, because, it's escapism. It's because you have inner child healing. But this person wouldn't do any of the inner child healing if it wasn't for this connection. They wouldn't volunteer to do it. It's like they don't want to do it. They wouldn't be looking at themselves right now, but everyone's looking at themselves. You're just looking at yourself like, I'm just not going to put up with this, where this person's like looking and saying, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. knowing that you're not putting up with any of those things that they just did. And they know that because you're not in their life. So, understand, it's almost like people learn by sabotaging the connection. But we have to say the person doesn't really believe that they can have love. So they don't realize how their sabotaging behaviorisms come out. They just know that they have patterns, that they get stuck in certain core beliefs, that they're stuck in their old patterns, right? Because the triggers again. So because it's just happened. It's the way I learned how to deal with it. I know I need to release attachments. And so I feel like this person again has either attachments to people that shouldn't really be in their life, or attachments to drugs, to alcohol, something outside of themselves to make themselves feel whole. That's why when people feel inadequate, they feel like, because my life isn't working. Well, your life doesn't work because you keep getting in your own way, but they don't realize that. It's like, snap out of it, Alice. Like they go, and they're not present and to seeing what they actually do. So that's why I'm saying this person has a lot of attachments, and attachments come in, and not just with people. They come with, again, anything that is going to make the person feel confident, feel like they can't just be themselves, and the thing is, you're not going to tolerate a person that's like an alcoholic. You're not going to tolerate a person that, like, it just has all these things. I mean, this person's like is a closet, like alcoholic or drug person or whatever it is, a porn person, whatever it is, because they've cut themselves off from love. Attachment is, again, anything that they feel that they need. And it's all because when you have these old inner child wounds, then what happens is, it's like the karmic theme continues to play out of abandonment within this person's life, where now they just make that a self-fulfilling prophecy, where they just go into the relationship and create it themselves. And then you're like, why the fuck would I be attached to something like that? But understand, I'm going through physical, emotional ascension symptoms. I need space to rest, but from a higher perspective, I am releasing old energy, which, understand, people go through many awakenings and they go through many ascension processes, especially if they are, were smushed down in their inner childhood, meaning they were abused. They were, told that they were a piece of crap every day, that they were told that there was something wrong with them. If they grew up in an environment where their parents had a codependent and toxic connection, where there was drugs, where there was alcohol, they were conditioned in an environment to believe that they were a piece of crap. Understand, habits, behaviorisms are built from that. And so, again, this person has learned, well, life doesn't work that way. Love doesn't really work for me. It's like, so even though I have a connection to you, again, doesn't matter. I'm too logical. I'm too analytical. So it's not, this person's not a spiritual person. So again, just because they have this spiritual connection to you, takes a little while for them to figure it out. And they feel it out through actually the actual physical experience, not through the mental thing, where this person tends to be very strategizing and they're very smart. They outwit people. That's how they get away with what they do. Well, it's, again, this is more of a thing. And it's almost like a delayed reaction, where because they didn't give it the time. They didn't give it the time because you gave it too much time, is what Spirit is saying. So now that you're not, they're, again, going through ascension symptoms. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you would be with this person, even if they came back, or when they come out of that, whether they will come back. We can look and see, but things always tend to, can change, because we don't know where they are on their process. I mean, this person like would want to, I think want to collaborate or team up with you, or you know, uh, do something with you. Okay, they would want to do something with you. That at least get to know you more. Okay, at least get to know you more. Do they know 100%? No. No, they don't. It's like, because understand, they they don't, because first of all, they're not who they're going to be after this ascension. They are going to shape shift. So no, they have absolutely no idea like what they're going to, like, how they're going to handle this situation. It's, again, it's, this is a spiritual connection. They're just going to be led by their intuition. They're just going to be led. And so understand, it's like they're um but it does say within 1 to 3 months, that you can expect some sort of change. Now, I feel like this person would come and extend the olive branch to you if you stay away from them. Now, that doesn't mean that you would want to be with them, like I said, in that amount of time. And if you do, I say that because a lot of times, if it's karmic, there's many different realities. And if you heal the karmic lesson, if you integrate the karmic lesson, then you're not on the same vibration anymore. You won't look at this person the same way. This card fell out, but we're not. We'll look at it after. We look at the inner child wounds to see why you attracted this person. What is the point? It's like, yeah, okay, so they act like a jerk, and now they're gonna come back after like 3 months or something, because they realize, because I cut my energy off from them. But it's like, how do I know that they're not going to revert back into the same person? Well, that means that you would have to be different in the way that you dealt with them. Remember, you lost them because of the way that you were. And the way that you were was too much, gave them too much, too fast. And it's, again, because most people that don't, that are busy with their lives and are getting emotionally taken care of from other places, they don't give that much time to people that don't give anything. They just only give words, or give, whatever. Not even words. 2, we're going to not flip them over yet. I don't know why we're doing it that way. Like, let me never do it that way. But I don't know, it was called to. All right, let's see. All right. So you're a mirror of who and what comes into your life, right? So you have to say, what was the imprint that made this person come to me, that was pretty much gave me that energy of trying to make me perceive that I wasn't worthy of anything. What was that? Well, Spirit says the card number 1 is trauma, and that your own safety and security growing up. So again, not having that support, and that could be emotional support. Anchor, it's another like support. So lack of connection to like family, ancestors, maybe not feeling like you could really be yourself, or feeling like, but there was trauma. Oppressed and keeping your energy down, holding your energy down. Well, that would explain, because this person was a jerk. Again, but understand, when a child grows up where they're oppressed and they have trauma, they detach, right? Again, they detach from themselves. And what happens is that they it pushes them to go have a very strong imagination, because they detach, they get disassociated from themselves. And so their imagination is one way, that a child escapes, fight, flight, freeze. Well, freeze is that you're there, but you're no longer there. You're actually detached from your body. And that's when trauma happens. So the child that survives thrives. And again, because they have clairsentient, which is feeling their emotion, but they also have strong clairvoyancy. And so when we are co creating later on in life, those are the two things that we need to be able to tap into. We need to be able to tap into our emotions as well as our like we have to channel our emotions really and be able to see. But what Spirit was saying is, well, you can't manifest love. This is what your higher self is telling you, because the wound is, I never feel safe. I never get anyone that makes me feel secure. There was no anchor. It's again, if anything, they try to keep me down. They try to put me in a position where they elevate themselves. They think about themselves. They don't think about me. They take my energy. It brings me back to a place of that trauma. And again, it could have even been a friend, or you could say, well, I started off being a friend with this person. Is again, I never like this card of friendship because this kid does not look like there is like a friendly kid. It's like friendship. So again, betrayal, having an imprint of betrayal, trust, having someone that close to you, and then them hurting you would again be that imprint that continues to play out, that trauma that keeps playing out over and over and over again, which is making you feel like I can't have love. I can't have love. When really Spirit says that's you are love. And Spirit says live. First of all, you want to heal that. Live authentically and boldly, unafraid to be yourself. And that happens. You say, well, how do you do that? And Spirit says, by following your soul's calling. It's again knowing your soul's purpose. It's again, how do you give and receive of love? How do you become the vibration of love? If love is the highest vibrational frequency, because that's the energy of the universe, and we always want to be in the flow of the universe. It's like, and that's how we tap into our spiritual sovereignty. That's the God part of self, the higher self. So again, Spirit says, yeah, you have to listen to the whisper of your soul guiding you. Align your actions with your values. So it would start with by becoming yourself. Take some mustard seed. God makes that multiply. Understand it's like every day you just put energy into what you want to grow, what you want to become. And the universe brings forth tenfold. Again, brings it to you and multiplies whatever you put down. But it's how much love you put into something. It's how much energy you put into something. And so Spirit's saying, why were you putting so much time and effort and energy into that person? And you'd be like, I didn't give them anything. Like the Spirit says, you held space in your head. That's enough. Because it's again that ESP connection. It's through the heart and mind. You're keeping that energy open because you say, well, I can still feel them and understand. Yeah, and they can still feel you. And there's a comfort in that where this person's like, yeah, I can get around to it. It's like, and so where it makes you feel undervalued, where really it's like that's really what it is, where Spirit's saying, no, you have to become the expression of love. Do what you love. It's like, and that's a grounding thing. Because when you're in your body, you're not thinking about that person. You're cutting your energy off from that person. And you're putting it towards growing yourself, becoming yourself. And that's how your third eye opens. Third eye only opens when you're in your body and you're led by your gut, your intuition, your inner knowing. That's the God center, because you're in the passion for life. You're able to go with the flow when you're doing the passion for life, when you're connecting deep with people on an emotional level, just because you love whatever it is that you're doing, that you love life. It's like that person they didn't earn the matinee special. They get the nosebleeds on like a Tuesday fucking night. You know what I mean? Like behind the big bar. They don't even have they don't even have a clear view of the stage. It's like because they didn't earn it. It's like, and you don't say it to the person. You're always gracious and nice, and again, should be flirty and nice, but don't give them anything. Same exact energy that they're giving you. I'm having a great time, but it's not with you. It's like that's what you're saying. Person didn't earn that. And Spirit says you first. When you embody that for yourself, that's when you're demanding it. And then you're getting people into your life that will respect that time, respect you. They know I'm not even going to approach this person because I'm going to be turned down. And then you'll begin to meet people that are more in alignment with your values, because you're again in alignment with your own, instead of giving that person time and energy and they're not in alignment with your values. It's like, because they're look at them, they're trying to, get something for nothing. You know what I mean? And they don't care how it makes you feel. It's like because of what they went through. Who cares? Like, get over it. It's like I don't need to like go through it because of what you went through. That's like, grow up. We all go through whatever. It's like every person's a new relationship. Every day is a new day. It's like that's why there needs to be karma. And that's what Spirit says. It's not about even like that. It was that you gave way too much, and it's to become yourself so that you can, again, that person will either rise to become a better person, and that's only because they'll be looking at your life saying, I like what your life looks like. I like what's happening in your life. You're having a good time, like what you got back from Spain, or you're traveling around the world, or you got a new car, or you got like the things are happening in your life. It's like that. Believe me, you'll have a lot of people around you. That's why you'll need discernment. And what Spirit says is that, like, in a connection like this, if you wanted to be in this connection, you would have to use understanding to have a greater emotional balance, harmony, alignment, again, and peace, where this person would have to do that. You would have to teach them. But to me, I just feel like, that it's a general reading. So some of you guys will actually try and make that work. I think that some relationships just come into our life to teach us, to make us aware of what we need to heal, what we need to clear within ourselves. And I feel like this person really knows what they want now. Of course they do, after they did everything else. But it's like, are you going to be able to forgive? That's on you. And I think the way that you would know whether you were going to was to go and do the things that you need to do to reparent yourself. And then if this person is still sticking around, and listen, that's the least that they can do, is stick around to show you, yeah, hey, listen, like I'll be patient with you because you needed to be patient with me. So maybe then you can be that friend. But like, aside from that, Spirit's saying, give yourself the security you didn't have. Be the anchor. And that's to have a daily practice to make sure that you're able to connect to your higher self. Again, that discernment is important, that claircognizance that we all have, which is, I don't know how, I knew I was going to see Mary Jane today. And what is that? That's claircognizance. I knew my mother was going to hate that outfit. It's like I knew she was going to say something. We all have that. That is the higher self. That's usually warning you too. I knew she was going to say something. Prepare yourself, because you're going to get slack, And so Spirit's saying, I'm always there. I'm inside of you. And so it's about you tapping into that higher self and again, and anchoring yourself to the ground, to the earth. And it's like by becoming yourself, because this trauma is still playing out in your life by the people that come into your life, and that belief that you're not lovable, that you're not deserving, because that's not even a reality. That's a reality that you made happen, but that's like putting your pants on like a shirt. It's like it's not going to look right. It's going to look like it doesn't fit right. Where no, because you're not doing it right. It's like where when you give it to yourself. So you need to again recondition neurological pathways within your mind. You need to again like heal yourself of the effects of trauma, and that means to embody a new way to listen to spiritual material every day, to again take the coaching course if that's what it is, to invest in yourself. You have to create the support, the security, the love, the stability in your life in order to heal trauma. Otherwise, you're always going to be seen as misunderstood, or it's not really that you're misunderstood. People will pretend that they misunderstand you so that they don't have to do the right thing. And that's really when you're like, I don't understand why I'm getting that. No, because the person thinks that you're naive, because you're still looking to have a conversation to convince this person of what they already know. They just don't want to do it. And it's the immaturity. And that's what we saw with this person, that they were immature the whole fucking time. And now they see that you're not playing games, and now they're like, oh, it's a different story. Now again, they're looking around and comparing you to other people. Oh, that one person was real. It's like all the other people that I deal with are full of shit. And we're all getting married tomorrow and running off to Tahiti or wherever the fuck, when meanwhile we just met yesterday on Instagram. It's like it's all bullshit normally. With you, it was real. The spiritual connection. It's like this person was so caught up in their ego and was so sure they could get you to like sway from your boundaries, to be honest with you, which it would be oppressing to making you feel what you can have, when really Spirit was saying you'd be oppressing yourself. Again, because that's what that person. So use your imagination to create your life. Don't think about the worst. When you're around people that do that give you the list, you're like, I already know what this is going to look like. And Spirit says, then why are we going through the whole thing if we already know what it's going to look like? Does that make sense? It's again to use the imagination to create something else, to make a way where there is no way, just for you. And that is how you actually heal trauma. Otherwise, like, you're going to continue to relive like experiences that play out as that. Like, I don't feel secure, like emotionally secure, safe with a person. I don't trust this person. No, who would trust that person? It's like they didn't care. They were like, any which way I can get it, that I don't have to do anything. It's like, because it's like a game. It's fun. There was no consequences. It's like, and why should I feel bad? Because everyone's full of shit anyway. Oh, you really weren't. But it's like, I don't really know how to handle that anyway. So that's what you're dealing with. It's again someone that needs to raise their vibration, and we can understand why you would. So reparenting yourself, I don't think you would want to be with this person, is what I'm trying to say. Because you'd be like, once you give yourself the support and the security, then you're meeting people that are doing it for themselves and they're secure in themselves. They don't need to play all those games. They value themselves. So they're not going to look at you like, well, I need to like not value you. Most people are afraid they're going to lose their life in relationships. So again, they kind of half-ass it. But if you're really invested in your life, what happens is that there is no expectation in the relationship. So the person actually wants to be in the relationship. When this person walked away, and that could be you, if you resonated, when you walk away from the relationship, what you're saying is I don't care. I don't have any expectation of you, what you decide to do. Like it's again, I don't need you to do this for me. It's like I actually do it for myself. And in doing it for myself, I meet 1,000 other men, other women, whatever it is that you fancy, like because it's all out there, and so it's like I'm not relying on you. And that takes tremendous pressure off the person. It's like when you detach, and so the whole thing of being so enthusiastic over a person that's giving breadcrumbs, that is actually demoting your worth. And that's what that person's like, I know your worth, you don't know your worth. And and you wouldn't know your worth if you grew up in an environment where there was a lot of trauma and you were too busy looking for survival. That meant there was no nurturing, there was no security, there was no safety. As again, no one understood where you were coming from because no one else lived that reality. So you would be more focused on your safety and your security. And even to the point in this relationship, you tried to set the boundaries, which is what created all the issues to begin with. The moment that you said what you needed, it was all about trying to, well, I think I can get you to give in and put your boundaries down. I'll oppress your boundaries. That's then I'm not going to make you feel secure, not going to make you feel safe. Again, whether that was a person back in your childhood as well, which it wouldn't be uncommon if you had your family do that to you, to have a friend do that to you, because the whole issue with intimacy blocks is it's not just with a lover, with someone you date, it's anybody that's close, because intimacy is trust at its basic foundation. And imagination is actually a gift because of the trauma. Again, because kids can't run away. They're stuck. I'm relying on this person that is like going to kill me right now, So a child has to kind of sit there and they get stuck and frozen. And the problem is that's a survival mechanism. But a lot of times, if you're in a relationship and you have spiritual blocks with love, that emotion, that freeze will come back up again, which is what happens with this person, the person that had all the behaviorisms that were toxic in this story. Well, it's again, that's what happened because of what happened to them. Their parents weren't around. They have inner child wounds that they have to deal with, that they refuse to look at. So again, but that didn't mean that they didn't date along the way and rack up a bunch of bad relationships and have a bunch of friends and have a bunch of bad friendships too, because it's the same karmic theme that continues to play out, which makes this person perceive that's their reality, that's the truth for them. But that doesn't need to be your truth. That doesn't need to be your truth. But unless if you continue to stay connected to someone like this, well, then Spirit says, well, obviously, then your imagination is going to imagine the worst instead of grounding yourself and reparenting yourself. That's going to open up a whole other life for you, and that's going to, bring new people into your life and new situations, and that would be then this person's karma, because you would say, well, like, it's like now I have to compare, like, do I want to eat at McDonald's or do I want to eat at your favorite restaurant? You know what I mean? It's like, clearly I want to eat at my favorite restaurant. It's like, and the spirit says, yeah, because McDonald's just isn't going to do it now. And that person you would see as McDonald's because of everything that they put you through. It's the fact of their childish behavior, and that's their karma. That's part of, like, hey, guess what? They get to eat the karma because you showed them something about themselves. So it was a soulmate connection because there was love, because they wouldn't have been affected otherwise. But you're like, not today. It's like they didn't expect that. They were so sure. And so, but now they don't get to be with you. And now you're on a higher vibration, and that now they have to see that, and they will be comparing you to, like, every single person that comes into their life, every single person. They'll be looking for you inside of them, and that's because, again, that's their karma. And the spirit says they wouldn't learn otherwise. It has to be like that. But spirit says it doesn't need to be that way for you, though. Use your imagination to get the hell out of there. It's, again, by, when you're grounded, you would get more imagination. Think about the most famous designer. Do you think that they just came up with their idea? No, they invested so much time, energy, by going to 1,000 different shows. If it's a designer, a fashion designer, they went to 1,000 different runway shows. They went to 1,000 different things, and they got inspired by all those different things. And so they don't have time. They don't have time because it's not growing their passion. It's not leading to anything. And that is what it's about. Otherwise, you're not connected to other people on an emotional level. And if you're not, then you're going to expect too much from somebody that doesn't even know how to give it. And that's the moral to the story. All right. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, wait, did I pull that one? No, I didn't, though. I left one other card out, which is always the message from spirit. Well, we know that we're not going to be with this person, most likely, like, just because you're going to evolve past them. However, we want to know what's the end message. Now, I mean, you have free will. If you're going to be patient, like, you could be with this person, but I wouldn't recommend it. Guidance. In times of uncertainty, I ask God to guide me into the light in my being. I am directed to doors that will open inner freedom to me and step forward in trust. I release my faith to God, and my faith is rewarded. So it's about a faith walk. It's like, understand, when you don't have guidance and you don't have security, there is no support. But understand the universe is God, which is your support, because it works through you, through gut intuition, inner knowing. It also works through your environment when the student is ready to teach your peers. We're never in charge of how we are going to make something happen. We are only allowed to say what we would like to manifest. Understand, the universe will always bring us people, situations, and experiences that help us to become and to heal whatever needs to be healed. So it's going to be difficult, but there's always reward after it. So it's about learning to live from the higher self instead of that logical, analytical mind. And the reason why is because you've gone through experiences where relationships haven't worked out. So there's a real belief, like, no, this can't happen. Where spirit's saying, it's like, do what you can do. Put your mind towards what we talked about, and let me take care of the rest. and be like, that may be really difficult for you, but then spirit would say, well, then you need to recondition your body and mind to be in the present moment. That's again, we have to heal the effects of trauma. It's like you can't think that you were programmed in a certain environment and that your nervous system is the same, that you're not going to be impulsive, you're not going to have certain things. You have to realize what you did to survive will always prevent you from thriving most of the time. Most of the time, unless it's a psychic ability, that you got from childhood, from living in survival mode, and even then that needs to be trained, taken from someone that knows, because it's about grounding, it's about reconditioning, it's about healing. And understand it always leads to a way where there is no way. It's all about recreating yourself into the version that you want to be, not the trauma, especially this trauma of that path of I'm not lovable. It's like no one shows up for me, because that's a pretty shitty, feeling, where spirit's like, that's not true. It's that you're looking for people to come in and just do it, where no, you have to reparent yourself and then it'll happen. You have to embody the new consciousness always. No more questions. If no one has any other questions, then again, don't forget to write the word of the video in the comment bar, which I forgot what it is, so you're gonna have to rewind the video. And if anyone's into the coaching, definitely, like my unveiling of it, I don't want to say it's coaching, it's something that I've been working on for a long time. And it's like, it's better than coaching. It's like, it's to heal the effects of trauma. And it's due to my own life story of, I came from a family that, had, my dad had cancer 9 times. He had 2 hip replacements. He had an upper and lower back surgery. He skipped grades in school, but he was an alcoholic. He was brilliant in the logical, analytical mind, but not smart spiritually or emotionally intelligent. Married a narcissist, someone that my mom, that, she tried to kill me several times. So I grew up in survival, where this is why my claircognizance is very strong. You had to have eyes in the back of your head. But I wasn't very smart in school because of that. So again, we get gifts from living in certain environments, but we also form habits and behaviorisms that need to be reconditioned, that need to be healed. Otherwise, we'll continue to keep replaying the same exact experiences over and over and over again until we just give up and just, take matters into our own hands. How do you, when you have healed, you never heal completely. Like, if you're alive, you may heal certain spiritual blocks that you have completely, and you'll know because the same karmic theme continues to play out even when you heal it. You'll see the same situation. The difference is that you handle it completely different. It has no effect on you. What you see is that it was just a paper tiger, that it was, again, the illusion of what it could have been. It's that's what happens. It's the way that you deal with the situation is completely different, so which allows you to see yourself differently, which you're seeing a different outcome play out. This is how we embody the spiritual lesson. So this first time, I'll give you an example. I used to get bullied all the time because my wound was always like what my mom did. So I was always like, again, would have people I was always afraid of people. And so I started to teach classes, and I would always get people that were like, I don't want to take your class. I want a free reading. And they would try and bully me into doing it. And they would try and trick me. And I would always try and be polite during my class. And one time I gave too much time, where at the end of the class, all the other students that were there, they yelled at me. They were like, you know, we come to this class for you. We don't come to this class to listen to this person. I understand you want to give everybody their chance, but that lady went on and on and on and on and on and on because she kept like we were doing exchange readings, but this lady was like, no, no, she wanted me to give her a reading, and I was like, no, you're supposed to like practice with each other. So she went on and like disrupted the workshop. And instead of me saying, hey, listen, if you don't like it, then you can leave, which is what I should have did. I just kept having to like deter the workshop. So it ruined the workshop. And then I had next time I had this guy come into a workshop and he was really loud. And the next time I felt the gut and I was like, I looked at that person. I said, excuse me, we can't do that right now. We're not talking about that right now. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry. And he was quiet. And I kind of passed the test. Then the third time I had a person come into a class that I was teaching and they came in like sucking a drink out of a straw, when someone slurps it really loud right in the middle of my workshop comes in. Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Yeah, I took the law of attraction. And she completely took over my workshop. But then a girl was trying to cry, started to cry, came to the workshop. I don't know, something happened in her work. We weren't talking about anyone's personal shit. I was teaching a workshop. However, this one girl thinks, well, now I'm going to do a coaching session right in the middle of your workshop for this person. And so I let her deal with the girl while I continued to teach my workshop. And Spirit said, that was a fail when I left. And I was like, why was that a fail? He was like, that was your workshop. And it was like, why didn't you tell them, excuse me, this is your workshop. Did you see how they disrespected you? And I was like, it was a fail. It happened again. I had people come in and come into my workshop and they pretended it was their workshop, literally. Took out the video camera, the whole 9 yards. Hey, we're at the New Moon website, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh my God. I have the pins and needles. I had anxiety. And God literally said in my head, that never works. Why do you do that? Oh my God, it doesn't work. I said, I'm going to get up there. I'm going to fucking beat this bitch's face in. And God says, this is your spiritual workshop. You can't get up there and curse that lady out. You're going to look like a crazy person. And I was, I had the shakes. I got up there and I was funny. I was like, the Holy Spirit worked through me. I swear to God. It was like, she was like, we're at the New Moon workshop. And I put my arm around her. I said, yes. I said, no, but we're at my workshop. And I said, this is the holistic and spiritual transitions. I took the phone away from her and then, sitting there and said, thank you. Let's now post it to Facebook. And I remember right after that, the entire workshop dispersed. Everybody left. And I want you to know I didn't even get this till like years later. It's like they left. Everybody was there for the show. They weren't there for my workshop. The girl called them up and said, hey, this new girl came into town. She's going to teach this workshop. I don't know who the hell that she thinks she is coming in here thinking she's going to be the healer of the town. Meanwhile, all I was doing was teaching a drum circle down at the beach for a New Moon workshop, which Spirit told me to have, offer something free to your community. And this lady like flips out, and really Spirit was like, well, I said, why did you do that, God? I said, why would you do that? And Spirit said, because you're a wimp. Again, you're coward. It's again, you act like everyone's your mom. It's again, boundaries. And that person been saying that she's going to be teaching a workshop on the beach for about 10 years now, right after Mary Sue moved out of town. And that was a long time ago. She put it off. So I told you to teach a class. I wanted to light a little fire underneath her ass. And I said, so on my back? And the Spirit says, I think you should offer her a free reading. I had offered her a free reading. Then I was afraid that I did that. I gave her the reading and she went, bing, she went away from me. Spirit said, oh, you had to do that because she would have ruined you. She was out there to ruin you. And so it's, again, I had to listen to my intuition where it didn't really logically make sense. And I was afraid, but Spirit, one girl after that happened at the workshop, she actually said to me, wow, you handled that really good. And it wasn't until years later did I realize, but what she said was like, wow, yeah, we were all waiting for you to like have a breakdown. We were all waiting for you to, and you didn't handle it like that. It was like, but I had handled it so wrong so many times before, and I had to learn. So you'll continue to get that spiritual lesson. The difference is now when it happens, I can laugh about it. I can be sarcastic. It doesn't affect me. And that's the difference, how you know you healed. There's no emotional trigger. There's no anxiety. There's no ruminating. Oh my God, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? Which is what happens when you have trauma that isn't fully integrated. It's like once you go through the spiritual lesson, you don't have that emotional like charge anymore. And you're able to then like utilize that energy for creative energy instead of that holding on to a trauma or the pattern of that keeps you stuck in the past. All right. Does anyone else have any other questions? Now that I told you all my crazy stories. Yeah, snap out of it, Alice. That's all right. If no one does, I'm going to take off tonight. Thank you for sharing your energy with me. Oh, what is this? How do you, when you have healed completely? Oh, no, Sheila. Nope. Oh, no, I thought somebody else wrote something. No, you didn't. All right. I'm out of here. Bye. Talk to you tomorrow. Love you guys.